subjected to our same purchase guidelines, and are there sealed bids? Yeah, so there's sealed bids and for all projects and things like that?
Same purchasing policy.
Same purchasing policy for TIFA?
Through the chair, I can comment on that. In corporation counsel, obviously, legal opinions are better than accountant's opinions, but that's why the TIFA board was created, to be a separate entity. They both can sue and can be sued, so they're a completely different entity. They are part of the city as what we call a component unit, but they are separate with regards to their policies. Some cities do it different, where the TIFA EDAs are completely separate. They have their bank accounts, they do everything separately. Here, they're kind of with the economy scale, we just kind of combine everything in regards to the accounting and all that good stuff. That being said, absent anything that the TIFA boards approve, they do follow the city's purchasing policy. We had a discussion many times with the TIFA board when they had questions regarding purchasing, and unless they pass something different, they all agreed to follow the city's policy in regards to purchasing and the formal versus informal quotes and bids and things of that nature.
I would like a legal opinion on that if I could get it, because I've heard, like, when Pat Moran was here, we had like a team, and I asked this question. I'm like, I think they're city money. I think that it's supposed to come before council for approval, and I would like a legal opinion on that in writing, because I asked Pat Moran or somebody that was here. Who was here for that? Remember?
Pat Moran, yes.
Yeah, I asked them, and they said, nope, not touching that, because lots of cities do it different ways, and there's controversy about what monies are being spent at the TIFA that are tax dollars that maybe some of the citizens are not appreciating. So I think that there needs to be more checks and balances here in place, or from the city council. And I don't know, I certainly don't want to disband the TIFA, because it's a beautiful thing, we need it. Good for those areas that it's in, that tax money gets spent in those areas where it's collected. I would just like to see, I would like to be able to approve it. And, but if that's not the rule, I understand. But I would just like a legal opinion, because I have checked with other cities, and they say it's different. They say that it's a place where monies can be spent, that outside of, there's questions about it, let's just say that. And not our city, but in other cities that I've talked to some of the council people. And so if I could get that, if the council could get that, I think I would like to know that. And then when we talk about the court, the Michigan case law, can you tell me what cases those are that you're speaking to, or did you put that in your opinion for me? Yeah, so it's not just us that are questioning it, I know, because I reached out to a couple of cities and asked them how they do it. And Warren was one. And it's been talked about just like we're talking about it now. So it's not anything like we're saying anybody's doing anything wrong. I just would like for it to come before council. But if that's not, like for instance, some people are complaining about the Eureka. That's the one I've been hearing about mostly, the Eureka signs, okay? And, everyone has their own opinion, if they look beautiful or not or whatever, but a lot of people are saying that we could have used that money on different things, they're sure of it. And I'm like, well, I don't know, it's in a certain district, you know what I mean? I don't know what we could have else used it on, because I wasn't aware of that when it was being done. But even if I were, with the way that it's set now, I would only be after the fact. So, like, for instance, just a ballpark, how much did those cost? Because people are asking me, and I just don't know.
I can tell you, I think the one on Telegraph was around 300,000, somewhere around in there. But there was a group of signs, I think there was like 3 or 4 that were all together that came to close to $1 million.
It was 1.2 million, I think.
So that's like on all the corners?
I think the Eureka
They wanted
Telegraph
to
and then
mark
the Allen
the
Road.
Eureka Way corridor.
And then there's the improvements.
Yes.
That.
But I mean, brought in front of council as a receive and file. I think it unanimously went down, but that is a board, just like this board, doesn't always agree with one or the other. I've been to TIFA meetings many times when I was on council, expressing my concern about things, and, you know, it went on deaf ears, but you know what, I'm just like everybody else. People aren't always gonna agree on everything.
And people don't know,
Right.
right, that
Yeah.
what the rules are, so
Yeah.
I just want to be knowledgeable when I explain it to people, you know, like why they're there and how they're there. But, Mayor, through the chair, like when you say it was approved by council, well, really it wasn't. It was approved after the fact, okay? It was received and filed, so it's not approved. So when you're spending, you know, 300,000 or 1.2 million, I think we should know this is taxpayer money, even though maybe we don't want to spend it on that, you know, and maybe we could go to the TIFA and talk to them before they spend the money, you know? I mean, it doesn't have to be like we're the end be all, like, you know, you have to get permission, but, you know, I think I would rather get a heads up on, you know, and I could go to the TIFA meeting, okay? So I could do that myself, right? So that's true. Yes,
Trying-
good.
And our representatives have been trying to get recognized. I just wanted to.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I mean, one question I was gonna ask, you said Warren, and just for my own research, like, what other cities did you find that do it?
They don't do it that way. They were saying that that the two council people that I talked to said that it is a big topic of, you know, that it shouldn't be done this
So
way.
Warren was one you.
Yeah, they were gonna get me some more information, and, I can't remember the other stuff, but there were two.
If you remember.
Yeah, I'll look at my
Yeah.
notes and give it to you, though.
I know when this was brought up before, I have to find it, but I read quite a bit. My understanding was we had to have a separate board that made those decisions, but I'm also not an attorney, so I guess I would defer to our corporate counsel on that. And I would add, yes, the TIFA meetings are open, and this body voted to not receive and file the TIFA minutes several months ago to know what was passed and what agenda items were there. So just a reminder, they are open. I would agree. I mean, I think 1.2, I think I've seen the general consensus that people are not big fans of the blue tweezers or the other things they've been referred to as, but that when you have something on those agenda items, I would say go to TIFA, or at least I am the representative there. If you have feedback on it, send it to me, and I would bring it up during the meeting.
Well, I think you voted against me when I went.
I think I did.
So, in all seriousness,
On the
Grant,
sides.
the money that's collected, my house and my subdivision is one of those. The North Line and the TIFA district, and likewise, we did the receive and file. I went to the board meeting, because one of the things I had raised when I wasn't on the council, right, was to see the new sign, you know, down at North Line and Inkster Road, and right in front of it was, you know, what they called the splash pad, or the concrete that went down North Line. And there's, you know, we maintained it at our area, and it was in very, very nice shape. My point was, hey, TIFA, if you're going to put things in, take care of it. Their solution was to spend $100,000 to rip it out. And then I did, you know, some quick math. I wasn't too happy with it, but that $200,000 in my mind would have paid to fix it up in place, or that $100,000. But they said, we don't want it anymore, and they ripped it out. So I went to the meeting, I lost a vote, you know, and it's definitely, you're definitely in a different chair when you're sitting down there and sitting up here. But, you know, to Councilwoman Winton's point, you know, we can go to those. One piece of information I think we talked about before is that it's a settlement with Wayne County that we have been fighting, or the council and the city has been fighting Wayne County for an agreement that was made in the 80s, where Wayne County, we didn't capture some of their TIFA funds. That was to pay for North Line. They've gotten paid many times over. We took them to court. The settlement was, here is X amount of dollars to be used for improvements within commercial corridors. So we've talked about over the past 20, 25 years, enclosing the ditches out in front of Southland, being able to make that more pedestrian friendly, that's part of it. But as part of that is that they bring, but that money, because I've heard the same thing, you know, that could have been used here. It's not, we talk about that many times. There are restricted funds that can only be used for certain purposes. TIFA can do things within a TIFA district, but they can't do things outside of a TIFA district. That's why when the question came up about the DPW, we leverage that ability. It's in the TIFA, right? So that $600,000 for the DPW parking lot is not coming out of the general fund, because we're not paying $600,000 out of the general fund. We can then do $600,000 for good to great programs or the, you know, other city projects. So I know oftentimes, right, how we're paying here so that we can free up money in the general fund so that we can do other things. It's you know, it's accounting.